what is it there that makes me go around and around and around and around? And you might start speaking about it and thinking about it, and even maybe in your life attempting to fill it up and with different objects or different things, etc., etc. And this is where desire comes into the stage, onto the stage, because the objet petit a, the object cause of desire, is the condition for desire, because it is a placeholder. It is not an object like any object in the world. I cheated a little by showing you that my objet a, my petit objet is a drum. Yes, it's a little drum. Yes, but that's not how things are, right? The objet a is exactly something that doesn't exist. It's a placeholder. It's a lack. And desire operates in this sense like an endless metonymy, an endless attempt to say, well, that's it, but not. That's it, but not. That's it, but not. That's it, but not. So you see that the movement of desire, the metonymic movement of desire, is conditioned on the operation of the drive circuit. When the drive circuit closes up on itself and establishes a certain repetition, then something of the objet a escapes that domain and enters the symbolic and imaginary domain. And this is where we can start thinking about it, conceiving it, and saying something about it in analysis.
Sorry, Leon, I don't think I got the part what you meant by it escapes into the symbolic domain. Do you mind elaborating a bit more on that?
It becomes something with a consistency. It takes form in our reality as a pain in the throat, as an obsession with trains, as a fantasy to get rich. You see, it starts getting a consistency that has to do with the reality that we live in, which is symbolic, but also imaginary.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, this is, in fact, I think Todd McGovern, in his book, Capitalism and Desire, he touches on this quite a lot. Like in the symbolic, this the objet, it exists in kind of the neoliberal capitalist world, and in many ways, his whole point is the way capitalism works is by not working, in the sense that it doesn't really give you what you want, but by not giving you what you want, it's paradoxically working.
Yeah, Todd does great work with that.
Yeah, excellent work. And also, just because I think you put it beautifully here on page 185, just for the listeners, you say here, the fact that the object is not attainable means that drive satisfaction is always partial and makes the thrust revolve around the object indefinitely as a constant force. Accordingly, not only can we characterize the satisfaction of the drive as never reaching its object, we can also say that drive satisfaction is directly derived from the failure to reach it. And I highlighted that bit, and I even annotated it in Capitalism and Desire, because Todd has a very similar, he obviously brings the drive into kind of our social reality, and he theorizes at that level. And I thought that was a interesting sort of isomorphism, let's say.
You know, where Todd has this, I love this example. And I love Todd's books. And particularly, I love the way he's able to take these sort of very daily experiences in order to illustrate these very intricate concepts. And he exemplifies this idea when he speaks about the show The Wire. I don't know if you've watched that show.
I haven't. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't watched Wire, unfortunately.
It's a very good show. It's a very good TV show. But Todd says that the trick about the wire, and this is why it is so much different than what we are used to today in terms of binging YouTube, etc. The trick about enjoying The Wire is not watching 4 episodes in a row, is that it is realizing that it is actually watching 1 episode a day and then letting it simmer, letting you sort of fantasize, sort of enjoy the expectation for the next one. That is the way to do it. And yeah, it's a way to enjoy limitation and to realize that, well, this is how things operate on that level. So that's a very interesting example that Todd gives.
Yeah, certainly. Also, interesting. I'm a big R&B and hip hop fan, and Michael Diamond, so from the Theory Underground, those guys. In the one of the blog posts, I'll link it in the description down below. Jay-Z has this song called "On to the Next One." On to the next one, and he for Michael at least, he theorizes that this song perfectly illustrates how the object works, where it's metonymous, as you said. It's all forever elusive, forever out of reach, but that's where the enjoyment lies, in always moving on to the next one. And I thought that was quite interesting. Aurelio, in fact, I don't know, forgive me, but I have to ask, I'm a hopeless romantic here. So if in that theory, in that psychoanalytical theory, how would you explain something like the phenomena of love? Like how, because like in some sense, like the love object, if you quote unquote get the person, to put it in a crass way, then the satisfaction is gone, the enjoyment is gone now. So it's just I'm just curious from your view how you explain the phenomenon of love, or perhaps you don't believe in love. I mean, I don't know. So
I might say it's interesting you mentioned this, because I am just writing a book about love that is supposed to be published in a few months.
well, I'll be the first to pre-order it. I mean,
You're asking. The current working title is Falling in Love with Lacan and Badiou.
yes, I love Badiou's one of my favorite books, In Praise of Love, which also I've got somewhere here.
It's a great book. It's a great booklet. And it has a lot to do with what we were speaking about, and this type of satisfaction. And you gave the example of Jay-Z. It's a good one. But maybe we can go to the way that Lacan exemplifies this type of satisfaction when he refers to the paradox of Achilles and the turtle. Do you know this one?
I do. I'm not familiar with this one.
It's a very famous paradox from ancient Greece. And it speaks about Achilles, who is the most talented athlete in ancient Greece. He's a very impressive athlete, and he decides one day to have a running competition with a turtle.
Is this Zeno's paradox?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I'm familiar. In fact, sorry to interrupt you on this. I'm reading this book by Hofstadter, Gerald Bach. I don't know if you. He goes into this Zeno's paradox quite a lot, but more in the realm of logic and mathematics. So I'm curious to hear what your Lacanian take on it is. Sorry to interrupt, but keep going.
We're going to get to mathematics. Yes, this is the point. So Achilles decides to have a competition with a turtle, but he's kind of he has sportsmanship. He's telling a turtle, okay, you can have a head start. I'm so good, you're a turtle, take a head start. So let's imagine that the turtle takes a head start. Let's say he's about 100 meters ahead. And Achilles waits until he's 100 meters ahead, and only then he starts running. So at this point, Achilles has to cover 100 meters, until he gets to the turtle. And he does that in a certain amount of time. Let's say it takes him a minute. But in that time, the turtle doesn't remain in place. He doesn't wait for Achilles. He continues, right? So the Achilles covers 100 meters. And at that time, the turtle does another 20 meters, let's say, okay? So Achilles has reached point A where the turtle was when he started running, but now the turtle is in point B, right? So Achilles has to cover this distance. That's 20 meters. So let's say Achilles covers that in, I don't know, 2 minutes, okay? And well, while he covers that distance in 2 minutes, the turtle doesn't wait for him at point B. He continues. And in this sense, he goes another 5 meters, let's say. And as you see, Achilles now has to cover 5 meters. So let's say he does that in half a minute. But in this half a minute, the turtle still doesn't wait for him. He moves. So let's say the turtle moves 50 centimeters. Achilles now have 50 centimeters. He covers it, but the turtle doesn't wait. So he moves 2 centimeters. Okay, now 2, he doesn't wait. He moves half a centimeter, 10 millimeters, 10 micrometers, etc., etc., etc. The idea is that Achilles never reaches the turtle. He never does. You know? This is the paradox. Okay, of course, mathematics has solved it in a way today, but it exemplifies the way that a certain type of satisfaction operates for the human subject. It is a satisfaction that is always established in relation to an inaccessible infinity. We always aim at it, but we never reach it. But only by trying we gain satisfaction. You're speaking about thought. Thought speaks about the object A as establishing satisfaction only when a boundary or an obstacle is put in place, right? So it's only when you cannot reach the object that you enjoy it. It is only when the object is unreachable that we can assume that it is this unimaginable prize that we're aiming at. As soon as you buy the iPhone, it's not it, right? And this is why Apple releases every few months a new iPhone. So we'll continue chasing the turtle. It is the chase that provides us with the satisfaction. It is the browsing of the catalog of binoculars in the attempt to find the perfect binoculars to use in order to spy on your neighbor, to catch your neighbor in the shower, I don't know, which is the source of satisfaction. Seeing your neighbor naked, that's not it, according to this idea, because you've done it. Huh? It is what you do in the way, what you do on the way, what you do in aiming at this turtle, this unreachable turtle, that provides you with satisfaction. The turtle here is objet A. This is, for Lacan, later in his teaching, only a particular type of satisfaction. He calls it masculine satisfaction. It's interesting. He associates it with the masculine subjective position, which is nothing like what we would call a male, or someone who would be identifying as a male, or someone who has done a transition to being a male, or one's gender or object preference. It's not the case. One can be straight, gay, LGBTQ+, it doesn't matter, and still still achieve this type of satisfaction in relation to an inaccessible infinity. Lacan calls this masculine. It calls this the jouissance of the idiot, the satisfaction of the idiot, let's say, because it is always done in relation to an object of fantasy. And this is why I told you, Rahul, that you probably, and I'm just guessing here, do not enjoy the other's body, even when you make love. You make love to an object. I assume. Maybe I'm wrong here.
I don't want my partner to. I don't want my partner to hear this.
Maybe they should hear it.
I want to keep this confession away from her.
It's important to face the truth, even when it is horrible. But then you can do something with it, huh? Let's keep on enjoying. I don't recommend anything other than that. This type of enjoyment we can associate with what we classically associate with desire. Desire works in this way, right? Desire works by keeping on sliding on the chain of signifiers. It's not this, it's not this, it's not this, as JC was saying.
On to the next one.
On to the next one. But for Lacan, there is another type of satisfaction that he develops later in his teaching, which is some type of a step forward from Freud. Because for Freud, there was only one type of satisfaction. There is a masculine satisfaction, a masculine libido. And then whoever is a woman, and for Freud, it was a woman, can either, copy it or be jealous of it or reject it. But that's it. Freud was saying, I really don't know what's going on there with women. He said that feminine enjoyment is some type of a black continent. This is what he said in a very uncontemporary way. But for Lacan, there is another type of satisfaction that he associates with the feminine position in his psychoanalysis. And again, feminine has nothing to do with, your particular gender, object preference, etc. It's a question of, do you have access to this other form of satisfaction, or are you solely disposed to the satisfaction of the idiot? Now, I don't know you, Rahul, personally enough, so I'm not calling you an idiot, a complete idiot yet, but only a partial idiot.
Yeah,
So,
Zizek says there are two kinds of people, total idiots and idiots. So I'm not sure which one I am either yet.
This is exactly what he means. He means that there are some people that only enjoy in relationship to this inaccessible infinity, and there are those that can enjoy this way, but also in another way. And this way has to do with what Lacan calls feminine jouissance. And at another point, he associates it with love. This is what my book is about. Okay, what is it exactly that we can say about love when we think about it in this way? Now, Badiou has a very interesting quote, and I very much agree with him on this. And he uses, it's a quote from the New Testament that he changes a little bit. He says that love goes through desire like a camel through an eye of a needle.
Yes.
Very figurative, even a bit obscure. But in a way, it says that love has to go through desire, even if it is an impossibility. So love then is a certain impossibility that one acts upon in their lives. So it's not a matter of elaborating. You cannot say anything about it. This is why I tell you, I don't believe in a sign of love. Because, you buy your girlfriend flowers. Okay, does this mean that there is love? It is nothing. It is just a gesture. How can you know? You cannot know. You can never know that love is in fact at stake. And maybe in retrospect, you say it was not love. Or maybe in retrospect, you say it was love and I missed out a chance. But when you are in love, you make a wager on something that is impossible to know. And well, now we diverge from Lacan, and I go more deeply into this in my book. But for Badiou, the question is what you do with this wager in your life. How does it change your life? What is this wager? Is exactly a wager that whatever satisfaction you are, that whatever satisfaction materializes in your life through this wager is not idiotic. This is basically the wager, that you are not an idiot in the sense of enjoying solely in a relationship with an object. You are saying whatever I am wagering on has to do with an other, with let's say, a pure alterity, with an otherness that is completely beyond my capacity to fathom. And this is why, I think Badiou says this, to love well, one must not understand. This goes against the whole idea of couples therapy, huh?
Compatibility and all these. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Against Tinder and all these apps, right?
Yeah.
One must not understand.
Yeah.
And if you can, from this not understanding, create something in your life, something that is materially expressed and is based on this hypothesis that there is the I and the idiot, but there is also the other, and between us there is this love, and you do things in your life and it changes your life and the world starts to build itself from this perspective. This is for Badiou what we might call a satisfaction that is achieved in love.